Booch, you Seminoles. Seminoles, Booch you. Booch, you Seminoles. Seminoles, Booch you.
Booch. We playing Booch ball. Booch. We playing Booch ball.
Hello and welcome back. And welcome back. Yeah. Hello and welcome back to Booch Ball, the only podcast in the continental United States talking kombucha and college sports. I'm Alex, joined as always by my lovely co-host Frito-Lay. How you doing over there, Freed?
Oh, I'm just swell. I got to tell you, man, one of my biggest pet peeves is when the Miami Hurricane fans join into the Seminole March chant. And I realize we're doing it ironically. Well, I mean, I'm talking about in the stadium. And when we do the chant with our middle fingers and scream curse words at them. Yeah, but I hate that because when you listen to it on TV, it just sounds like there's a bunch of Seminoles doing the chant. We'd be way better off drowning it out with a Let's Go Canes. And, in the situation we were in over the weekend, we had them outnumbered so heavily, we could have drowned that thing out like in a second if we just started up a Let's Go Canes chant. But instead, we decided to validate it by joining in, and it bothers me.
I understand what you're saying. I think at that point, we're winning the game by pretty comfortably. I don't think anybody felt like there was going to be a shift in momentum.
Sure.
By singing
it's just a general thing, because it happens every year.
Quit complaining, Freed. Miami wins 36-14, covering the spread, beating Florida State on a lovely little Saturday down in Miami for the game that both Freed and I attended and yet did not see each other at.
We decided to tailgate on separate sides of what is an exceptionally large parking lot.
I warned you. I told you. I even sent you a map of the parking lot and was like, make sure you park in the yellow lot by the orange. Remember that?
It was not my decision.
I sent that the day before.
I tried.
My family didn't even realize that there was parking. I asked my dad the day before. I was like, hey, just checking which lot are we in? And he was like, I don't know. I'm like, well, was anybody in charge of getting parking? He's like, I don't know. Last couple times, I think we've just gone up and just parked wherever.
Dad, we're good this year. We need a parking pass.
It costs $300 to park in the freaking orange lot.
That was why we parked in the yellow. Like I said, it was not my decision.
I got my ticket paid for, so I got my ticket and my ride to the stadium paid for. So
good for you.
My hotel room paid for. And my flight paid for. So it was literally. It's not the least I could have done, but it was pretty close to the least I could.
And you ignored me on Sunday when I tried to hang out with you, so I just flew home early. It worked out for everybody, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine. I wasn't gonna go meet up with anybody on Sunday. Sunday was my day of rest and relaxation on the beach.
I would have
came out of my hotel.
Came to the beach.
I had to check out of my hotel, pack up all my shit, get picked up by my parents, get driven into my grandparents' condo. I was staying in a nice spot. I was staying at the Silver Sands Hotel. Freed. Have you ever stayed there on Key Biscayne?
No, and I wasn't invited to come visit this weekend either.
Freed, it's so good, but I think they're getting rid of it.
Sad. I will say
they're gonna bulldoze it and put up a big ass condo, and I'm just tired of that. Freed, give me some smaller, shittier hotels.
Listen to this. The Jazzo bachelor party rode to the game from the Gables in a Mercedes party van. We had the stereo bumping, the TV.
Was it like a big limo kind of with
Yeah, it was like a 12-seater van. So we were watching TV.
Was it? Oh, you had a TV?
Yeah, we were watching football on the way. And then on the way home, we were watching SMU Duke. And then someone looked out the window and goes are we supposed to be passing Fort Lauderdale Airport? And the answer, of course, was no. We were being driven in the totally wrong direction,
Northbound.
which gave us just enough time to watch the ending of SMU
What a
Duke,
game.
which was a good game. We'll get to that later. Before we move into this future week, one more thought about last week. How'd you feel about the game as a whole? Just kind of your experience.
The crowd was good. The game was pretty boring, but it was also just kind of like what is it? Humdrum?
Hum-ho
dominance.
Humdrum. Yeah, that's nice after the past few weeks where we had so much excitement. You took the word out of my mouth. It was a boring game.
Word.
Crowd was not into it, and I can't blame them. There was no need to be into it because from the midway to the first, basically after that first touchdown drive, midway through the first quarter, it was fairly clear that Miami was going to win this game pretty easily.
At least there was crowd. Like the
Well,
crowd, like coming in, the crowd was big.
Yeah, no,
So that felt good.
The first half, there was not an empty seat in the house. It was just low energy because we had no fear of losing and FSU had no hope to win. So all in all, it was nice. It was boring. I'll take that over the Cal or Virginia Tech games if we're being real.
Oh yeah, for sure. Is DJ Ugalele is he just out? Is he done?
I think so. I think he's going to try to get another year of eligibility. I don't know where he's going to play, but
he should. Dude, he was good at Oregon State, right?
No, he wasn't.
I thought he was pretty good. Like at least the team was pretty good.
Well, the team was pretty good, but he was splitting QB reps with their freshman QB, Adrian Chiles, who has since transferred to Michigan State. I mean, he wasn't even really the guy. It was the offensive line and Damian Martinez carrying the load.
All right, but he had 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions in 2023. And he had 22 and 27 the year before. Like, it's not terrible.
He peaked his freshman year when he had to fill in for Trevor Lawrence. I think the thing with him is the older he gets, the less mobile he gets. And when you take away his mobility, he's not a good enough pocket passer to do damage. Yeah. So without the mobility, he's semi-useless.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, it wasn't particularly exciting. I think my family ended up leaving like right at the start, right after the fourth quarter. But to be fair, we were traveling with multiple octogenarians. 4 octogenarians, in fact.
Good for them. Yeah, we stayed for the whole thing. It was just nice to watch the Florida State folks scramble out. What's the word? Crawl out. What do rats do? How do rats walk?
Squirm
out. Yeah, squirm out. All right, enough about last week. Canes are 8-0.
Canes are 8-0, Freed. It's time for us to do the only other thing we talk about on Booch Ball, which is to talk about what we're drinking.
I'll tell you what, this week I need some vitamin C. In retrospect, we should have gone for the Health Aid, but we went for the next best thing, a GT's Synergy Mystic Mango. Heal me. I overdid it this weekend.
Did you?
Well, I mean, I was kind of sick the whole time, so I shouldn't have been doing it at all, but I did.
Yeah, and you went to 11 and everything, right?
Yeah, I super spread at 11 with whatever I have. Jazzo went in a hot dog costume. It was pretty dope.
He won in a hot dog costume?
No, he went to 11 in a hot dog costume because it was Halloween weekend.
Over under how many times people screamed out, asked me about my wiener?
I didn't hear it, but then again, you can't really hear anything in there.
Is that like in the vernacular? Is that like in the cultural zeitgeist? Like, do people remember that? Do you remember that?
Tell
me remember what that's from?
Yeah, somebody says it in like a high-pitched voice, but
I just ask me about my wiener.
Yeah, I remember.
Do you remember who says it?
No.
It's Jonah Hill in the movie Accepted. With Justin Long. Remember the guy who was in remember like the Apple versus Mac commercials? Also, he was in Dodgeball. Justin Long.
Long wiener?
No.
No, I don't remember, but I remember remembering it, but I don't remember.
That's from that. I think I kind of look like Justin Long if I shaved my beard. I
Which
think
guy was he
he's
in
one of my
Dodgeball?
closer celebrity comps, I think. He's the guy where he and the girl like have like the love, like they've kind of fall in
Got
love
it.
with each other.
Yeah. He
And
kinda looks
then
like Keanu Reeves.
yeah, a little bit. And then at the end, I literally just watched this somebody was dressing up as them for Halloween, so it was like a TikTok thing. And she's like Jack, like John, I love you. And he's like, I love you too. And then he gets beamed with a dodgeball.
Yeah.
And then Ben Stiller comes over and goes, Joni loves Chachi.
Yeah.
I think that's might be the funniest line in any movie. Like the funniest like 5-second scene in any movie of
That's a
all
great
time.
movie, and you actually do look like
Joni
him now
loves
that you say that.
Chachi.
Alright, let's get into this Booch here. What do you say?
LOL. And as we do, let's read the words of enlightenment on the side of the bottle, which are from some random guy from Hawaii. Love is the force which binds all of creation and the key which can unlock all doors. I had a key to Biscayne this past weekend, Freed.
I have a universal key in my garage.
I passed a Virginia key.
Was she cute?
Ooh, yeah. I love mangoes. Sometimes mangoes can be hit or miss when you actually buy the fruit, but when you
Yes.
get a real nice, ripe, sweet mango,
Probably the best. Probably the
God,
best
it's
fruit would be a good mango.
Mhm.
Especially if, well, one of the things that's very popular in Houston is like the kind of the Mexican style dessert, like the refrescaria type vibe, where they do the chili powder or like the tamarind spicy sauce on the
Yeah.
mango, and it's so fire.
They do that in New York too. There's just like women in the subways that are selling those out of like plastic bags.
I wish they would be selling this out of a plastic bag because this Mystic Mango is pretty good.
That's facts. Yeah, it's actually I was so like thinking about mangoes when I drank it that it's actually not that sweet. It has a lot of carbonation, I think, which kind of like balances it out.
This is a heavily carbonated Booch, and I like that. I like that.
Yeah. But pretty good. This is one of our top Booches. We're just kind of drinking this to I don't know, for the vitamin C or something like that. But that's what we're drinking on today's Booch Ball. It's season 5, guys. We're really just kind of drinking what we like at this point. If anybody has any suggestions, let us know.
We're in no. We can do whatever we want.
We can do whatever the hell we want.
Speaking of which, I am going to make sure we get a special Booch for next week's show. We're going to do a live show when we tailgate together, right? Is that the plan?
Yeah.
We're going to actually try to find each other this time. I'm going to order us
definitely going to find each other.
I'm going to order
you
some
are
kombucha.
sitting somewhere else.
Yeah, we're not going to sit together, but we'll come together in the fourth quarter when the stands clear out because we're hopefully dominating. I'm going to order some kombucha from Hawaii, get it shipped to my mom's house, and take it to the tailgate. That's my game plan.
Wow. I joyously accept, Freed.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Beautiful, dude. Let's do it. Well, Freed, we've told the good people what we're drinking, the GT's Mystic Mango. It's now time to talk about what we're thinking.
What are we thinking about? Because I don't even know. What do we got today, Alex?
Well, Freed, we are thinking about the Florida State weekend recap. We've already done a little bit on the show. Were down there for a bachelor party. I was down. I was able to convince my family, even with 4 octogenarians plus a 1-year-old baby, and then some assorted cousins in between.
A single genarian.
Yeah. Octogenarian? Just a genarian.
Just a genarian.
Unagenarian. Unagenarian? I don't know.
Could be.
Thermogenarian? Freed, we were at this we were at the tailgating scene. I was able to convince everybody to leave early, which meant 4 o'clock. which is fine. We got there a little bit before 5, so we had between 5 and 7 o'clock to get into the stadium. We kind of brought some stuff and some snacks. The problem with the Hard Rock Stadium and kind of most NFL stadiums is that, and just kind of tailgating in general, but especially NFL style stadiums, it's just a big sweaty parking lot. It's just a big sweaty parking lot.
Huge.
And what's strange is that the cars all park on the grass, and then the people hang out on the parking lot. Make it make sense.
This is like a park in the
Why is
driveway,
that?
drive in the parkway type
Why are we
scenario.
doing that?
Yeah. Well, because grass is yucky, maybe. Like if you're setting up a table, you want it to be on pavement. You don't want to be in the grass with the fire ants and the mud.
Grass is yucky. Come on. It's just lame. Like if you're gonna have a tailgate, if you're gonna have a barbecue, have it on the grass. You have it on your lawn.
I will say you were very far
it's
away.
Too hot on the pavement.
We were very far away from the more rowdy tailgate scene. I did not see any of the students. I didn't see anybody throwing beer in pickup trucks. I was very disappointed.
Well, Freed, I have a couple things to share that I saw. The first one, let me see if I can share my screen actually. Okay. I'm going to share my screen and show you a picture that my mom took. And that is...
Here we go.
Can you see that very well?
No.
Can we zoom in? Oh, it's not letting me show.
No, Michael Irvin.
Yeah, it's Michael Irving, Freed.
He tailgated with you?
No, he just kind of randomly showed up and was definitely drunk.
Hell yeah.
But look at this big stain he has on his shirt.
Hell yeah.
And what's he drinking? At first, I thought this was like a THC drink or something.
Is it a kombucha?
It's called Two Drums. Real sports, nothing artificial. But I immediately clocked him. He was actually looking away. Like he was kind of like walking around. And I just like saw him and I was like, I saw him from behind and I saw that shirt. I was like, oh, that person's like dressed up the same way Michael Irvin's been dressed up for the last couple of games. And then upon another look, I was like, no, that's just Michael Irving.
You should have asked him to do Downward Dog together.
I know. I called it out with my fam though. It was just like, yeah, I was like, that's Michael Irvin over there. And then a bunch of other people were like, what? I'm like, Michael Irvin? Oh, holy shit! Michael Irvin! Like, oh my god. But yeah, I was like the first. I kind of like felt cool because I was the first one.
Good on you.
I'm gonna see if I can find these other. Oh, can't scroll through these pictures.
There's an octogenarian and a genarian.
Yeah, there they are. That's little baby Patches O'Houlihan. That's what I like to call him. So yeah, so that was that's Justin Long, who kind of looks like me. Honestly, I think I look better looking than Justin Long a little bit.
You're pretty cute.
Thanks, dude. The thing I was gonna say, so Michael Irvin comes in, and everybody automatically wants him to be at their tailgate. Everybody would do anything to have him at the tailgate. I also saw a major fight. I was actually walking with Rob Kelly and Ethan Creo back to like their other tailgate.
I heard about this. Yeah.
And some dude, like blood gushing down his face, like had the shit kicked out of him, but was still like screaming like he had won the fight, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I heard it was some cane on cane violence. You never want to see that.
Yeah, it was cane on cane violence, but then I also heard somebody say like, "That's what happens. Like, that's what FSU does." And I was like, you either saw something I didn't see, or that guy didn't know what he was talking about, because I'm pretty sure it was just two Miami dudes who were like kicking the shit out of each other. and there were like children around, so that was really weird.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We don't condone violence.
I like a chiller, like more family oriented tailgate. Really, I always have. I would much prefer a tailgate that just has cornhole and like beer pong to a tailgate that has loud blasting music and like dancing and like people like chugging on a truck bed. It's
I
not my
prefer the
scene.
college style tailgate on a truck
And
bed where
in the yellow lots, okay, well that's fair. But in the yellow lots, they're at least doing it in the grass, right? Like it's not on the
there wasn't
pavement.
even grass in the yellow lots.
This is dirt.
No, it was paved. It was paved.
Was
It
it
was all
paved?
pavement. I had nowhere to pee because it was all pavement.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, see, it would be better with more grass. Anyways, I'm getting lost in the sauce here, Freed. But what I'm trying to bring to you today is I have a list of the top 5 things you can bring to get accepted into a tailgate. Because this is the problem I find almost every year with my family is that we roll up in this big car and then we don't have like a tent. We don't have a table. We don't have any chairs. So we're just sitting in like a hot parking lot. And I'm usually of the camp that's like, hey, let's just like bring our stuff and go like find somewhere fun and hang out with them. And I still remember like my dad last year was like, my dad can get very sarcastic, especially after he's had a number of beverages. He's like, yeah, Alex, like that's exactly what we should do. Yeah, let's just walk up to a random tailgate. That'll be great. They'll love that. And I was like, that kind of is true. Like,
so you don't get your McGuire spirit of adventure from your father?
No, I don't. No, it's kind of interesting. I think I actually got it from my mom is very social, but she's not the most what's it called? She's not like the life of the party. She is really good at connecting like and likes talking to people. My dad can be very funny, but he's antisocial unless he's like
So
comfortable.
you got a little bit of both.
Exactly. So I got like a nice little mixture of the two of them, I think.
Yeah.
But these are my top 5 things, and if you have all 5 of these things, you are a deadlock for any tailgate at all.
Is this an Alex list or is this like an internet list?
I think this is kind of a general list. This is like a general internet list.
Okay.
5 things that you can bring or have with you that if you show up to a tailgate, they are going to significantly increase your chances of being accepted into the tailgate.
All right, let's start with the simple stuff. How about alcohol?
Freed, are you guessing things or are you going to listen to the list that I prepared?
I thought this was a game.
Oh. No, Freed, I'm here to unveil my top 5 list and then you can comment on it if you would like.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, Freed. Number 5. Having a cool jersey / fun costume.
Okay.
If you have a cool vintage vibe or you're wearing some kind of silly outfit, like you're wearing like a
hot dog
Miami. Yeah, sure. If you're wearing a hot dog.
you're
the guy, but especially if you're like the guy who dresses up in full Miami Hurricane gear, you're allowed at the tailgate.
Yeah, I think it's an icebreaker. I think it's a different story if you get to the point of celebrity status as like you're known as the 12th man or you're known as the cane freak or whatever, then yes, 100%. But if we're just talking something simple like a hot dog costume or a cool jersey, that's definitely an icebreaker. Step 1 to
That's why it's
at least,
number 5, Freed.
Get in there. I like it. What's number 4?
Number 5. Number 4, a family member. Having a family member gives you a level of relatability and a cuteness factor, especially if it's a parent or two, or it's a sister, brother, kind of like a distant third. Grandparents, you're pretty much in. If you can bring a family member with you, The question becomes, how many family members can you bring before it goes out? But I say if you have at least 2 immediate close family members that are not just your 2 brothers, you've got a good chance of getting invited into a tailgate.
Yeah, I see where you're going with this. I mean, it's tough if you're just a group of 12 dudes on a bachelor party to have the desire for people to want to hang out with you. I think if you have the family, especially if your sister's hot, that helps. That's going down a different subject of
Stay tuned for later in the list, Freed.
All right, perfect.
Freed, number 3 on the list. At least a case of beer.
At least.
And by case of beer, I say a 12-pack. You need to have at least 12 beers. If it's like you and a buddy, you have to have at least a case of beer. And then the more people that you bring, you need to have at least a 6-pack per person that you bring to the party.
Yeah, I think you need to have at least enough alcohol to cover yourselves. And if you really want to be accepted, you need to have enough alcohol that you could be like, and not just enough desirable alcohol. Because if you pull up with like a 30 rack of Miller High Lifes, they'll probably not want them. But if you show up with something decent, like expensive, then people might be more inclined to be like, yeah, come on in. I'll take a few shots out of your bottle.
Yeah. And I think with this list, and I also said you could bring a bottle or you could bring weed, but weed is like,
depends on
you
the
can't
location,
just have weed. Yeah. I think you have to have you have to have like a lot of weed to be able to get away with just bringing weed. And I don't even smoke weed anymore. So that's not even really going to do it for me. And I would say that having the beer, like the alcohol thing, I think that paired with number 4 or number 5 would get you in. If you bring a ton of alcohol and you're with some family, you can pretty much get into any
it's a compounding list, of course.
Right. Number 2 on the list, Freed. And now we start getting into the place where you might just need these, but I'd say almost everything pairs well with number 3, having enough alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, hotties.
Yeah.
Preferably women. Bringing hot women with you.
Well, it depends whose tailgate it is.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it depends. But hotties, but it's pretty much regardless of the tailgate. Bringing good-looking women with you is never a bad idea.
100%. Yeah.
Never a bad idea.
No rebuttal whatsoever.
Kind of enough said there. That's number 2. Number 1 might be surprising, but the number 1 thing that you can bring to a tailgate to actually get accepted immediately into that tailgate is like a heaping plate of barbecue or like some kind of good food that you've got. Like a good, like big tinfoil box thing full of like ribs or chicken wings or something like that.
I'm getting
like
hungry.
Good like I'm talking like good shit that you pop up. Hey guys, we made a bunch of barbecue. You are instantly allowed to stay at that tailgate. And I think you might think hotties is number 1, but I would rather somebody show up with a bunch of food.
Yeah, it would be interesting to have some sort of a flow chart, kind of a visual diagram that shows what combination of which would be required. Of course, it all depends on the tailgate, but
yeah,
certain combinations work. Certain combinations, they say, bring me more.
I think cool jersey, fun costume can kind of get added to any of them as a nice little bonus thing. I think barbecue, good food goes with family members, pairs well with family members. And then hotties and alcohol pair very well together.
Hotties and alcohol pretty much can be standalone or go with anything. I think your number 5, the cool jersey or costume, I think that's the icebreaker. I think it's obviously not enough alone, but it's going to be your best.
Especially if it's the same, if you're rooting for the same team, that helps your case a lot.
Sure. It's your best bet to just go break the ice. And also it depends, when I was at the A&M game, when Miami was playing them, I would say the A&M fans were very friendly towards Miami fans. It just depends on the fan base. Sometimes people are very appreciative for the fan base, coming out, and they're just happy to see the opposing fans there, and they're down to hang out with you if you clearly are not local.
Miami.
Yeah,
not Miami and Florida State.
True, of course.
It's really not that vibe.
Not at all. But it's more of I'm multiple states away. I traveled here. We're just walking around looking for a place to have fun. You say, hey, come on, join us, hang out. But good list. We're going to get to check out the Georgia Tech tailgate scene in a couple weeks. Have you ever been to a game there before?
I've never been to Bobby Dodd. I've been to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium for an Atlanta game, but never a Tech game.
Cool. Well, I'm going to get on the line with my wife's cousins who we will be attending with and see what the tailgate vibes are going to look like. And I'll let the Boochies know, and we're going to do it live next weekend.
Love it, Freed. You heard it here first, folks. We're drinking the GT's Mystic Mango. We're thinking about that FSU weekend recap. We went over the top 5 things that you should consider to bring to get you accepted to any tailgate. And now, Freed, I have to go take my rice off the burner. Imagine if I had ice on the burner. Why would I be doing that?
Making water.
And eventually steam. Freed, tell the good people who we're picking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got a good slate this week. The biggest game of the week, obviously, Ohio State at Penn State. Ohio State favored by 3.5 on the road. Speaking of the Aggies, they had a big win last weekend against LSU. They are 2.5-point favorites on the road versus the Cox of South Carolina. Big one in the ACC, surprisingly this late in the year. Undefeated Pitt at number 20 SMU. That is the only ranked ACC matchup of the weekend. SMU, 7.5-point favorites. That's a big number with a hook. And for our sediment pick, another FSU matchup, UNC 2.5-point favorites on the road in Tallahassee versus Florida State. Those two teams suck. That's why it's the sediment pick. And, before we get into these picks, I would just like to point out that you can always bring kombucha to a tailgate.
Very true. You always can, but it's just not hit that. We're not at that spot in the culture where it's
that's number 6.
If it was our tailgate, yeah, you're in.
Better believe it. If you come to the Booch Ball tailgate, I don't care if you're wearing a costume. I don't care if you got hotties. I don't care if you got food. But if you got a kombucha that we haven't tried, you're free.
These are the kinds of things we should be putting on our website on boottrader.com. Our listicles. That's the thing. Maybe maybe I am coming around to ChatGPT, but the problem is that if I were to use ChatGPT, it would be like, hey, I've written this list, turn this list into a
make it good
postable list that I can put on my Instagram that has an orange and green color scheme.
Yeah, make it better.
Could I do that? That actually is a good idea.
You probably could do that. All right.
Burning, wasting water.
While you're scrolling the web talking to Gronk on Twitter.
No, I would never talk to Gronk.
Who do you talk to? GPT?
I don't talk to anybody really.
Well, about time.
I'm kind of anti AI actually.
We'll get you around. Anyway, let's start with the big one. Ohio State and Penn State, number 4, number 3. Either way, you'd like to think Miami's moving up in the rankings a spot after next weekend, but Ohio State favored by 3.5. Who are you picking?
Freed, I'm taking Ohio State here. I know Ohio State's had some little stumbles here and there, but I'm not going to think too much about that Nebraska game because I think Nebraska is a tricky team, and that was also coming off of that pretty brutal loss to Oregon by 1 point, and I think everybody is kind of in agreement that Oregon's the number 1 team in the country. So give me Ohio State to cover at Penn State, especially since we don't know who's starting at quarterback for Penn State yet.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. It's a little unclear with the injury to Drew Aller. I think he's going to play. Will he be at full strength? Who knows? Either way, I think Ohio State's going to win this game by 7 to 10 points. Should be close, but I think Ohio State's just a lot better.
Fair enough.
All right, let's move back to the SEC. Texas A&M 2.5-point favorites at South Carolina. I'm actually surprised that this spread is so tight. You love a tight cock, but the Aggies, they're in the driver's seat for the SEC conference championship berth, at least right now. Undefeated in conference play. They have a lot to play for. I just don't see a slip up this week against the Gamecocks. So I got A&M to cover.
Freed, I'm right there with you. I put that game on the slate because I know South Carolina's had some close shaves with a couple teams, including Alabama. But one of the correspondents from the Dan Le Batard show, Lucy Rodin, who I have a crush on, she goes to all of the different she goes to like every like big game and checks out the tailgating scene. And she had a not very good time at South Carolina. She said that the vibes were off at South Carolina. She didn't have a lot of fun.
Bunch of cocks out there.
She just went to Ole Miss and she had a great time at Ole Miss. She said Oregon was actually the best tailgate scene.
I think you need to send her your AI generated, or at least AI improved, decorated list. Because she's into tailgates.
I'll send her a picture of Justin Long with my face photoshopped on top of his.
So just a picture of Justin Long.
With a beard. But yeah, I'm right there with you, Freed. Because of that, I will be picking Texas A&M to get the cover, 2.5 points on the road.
Okay. 2 for 2 here. Number 18 Pitt at number 20 SMU, and number 20's SMU, according to Alex, has a 7.5 point spread. I'm going to verify this right now. I genuinely do not believe that that's the number.
I often do not make the slates, so I don't think it's a bad idea to check, but I am seeing it from ESPN.com.
That's the number. Okay. Well, that's a little bit of a giveaway as to who I'm picking. I think you're going to agree with me, but who are you picking here?
I'm picking Pitt, baby. I'm picking Pitt to cover. That's way too big of a spread. I wanted to put the game on there just because I was interested in it, and I think this is I think SMU's been a super fun addition to the ACC, even though I would rather them not make it to the conference championship game. So I will be rooting for Pittsburgh in this one, but I am happy to see all of these, especially since they're all like half of them are former Miami players.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather play
Smith
SMU.
And Jahari Harvey.
Brashard's doing great. Jafari had that block that actually basically won them the game. So big time. I just don't think SMU is very good. I picked SMU to cover last week against Duke because I think Duke is also really not very good. But you had SMU. And speaking of last week, we both went 3-1, but I won the Booch bet by order of having a better FSU Miami spread prediction. I had Miami winning by 21. You had it by 28. And the final score was a 22-point win. So I take the Booch bet from last week. That being said, I am off of the SMU bandwagon that I was never on, especially with that half-point hook. I will be taking Pitt to cover. Honestly, I think Pitt's going to win outright, and thank you for the $5.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love for Pittsburgh to win. Whatever. I'm sure it'll be a tough game. 8:00 on the ACC network. Doesn't get any bigger time than that.
Pitt still has to play Clemson, but man, Pitt, what a Cinderella season.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. They're still ranked 18th. They haven't gotten a lot of respect, but it's because they haven't played anybody.
Yeah.
Really. I guess they played West Virginia. They played Cincinnati, which is kind of a good win.
We'll see how it shakes out. I was thinking early in the year the ACC would be a 1-bid conference. Now I'm pretty convinced the ACC is a 2-bid conference. Could we see a third team sneak in? It's possible.
It's possible. Oh my God.
Right.
Breaking news feed on ESPN.com. Greg McElroy tabs Miami as team to watch in November. Can you believe that shit?
So exciting.
Oh, man. That's it. Cray. That's it, Craig. She said maybe we get married at the mall.
Roll damn tide. All right. Before we do the sediment pick, let's finish some of this sediment. This is a pulpy sediment, and I'm so excited.
I don't know if I'm going to finish it. I'm going to save some for tomorrow.
I've been saving that sediment since like 20 minutes ago.
That is yummy, though.
Just a tasty booch. All right, said pick. This is pretty much bottom barrel ACC. Two teams just way below expectations. UNC, 2.5-point road favorites at Florida State. Alex, do you want to take the lead here?
I got UNC. I'm on a roll taking all of the away teams, so I'm gonna take UNC to give. Florida State just doesn't have it in the tank this year. I think. I don't know if they're gonna lose out. They're gonna lose to Florida. They are 1-7 right now. They have to play Notre Dame. They're gonna beat Charleston Southern. And then I think the rest are losses this year, Freed. What a disaster.
Yeah, it's insane. They were supposed to win 9 or 10 games at least, and they've already lost 7. Just wild. I think they're actually going to cover, maybe even win. UNC, not good. UNC's defense is bad enough for FSU actually to score on. Could be a shootout. Anything could happen. I kind of liked what I saw from Luke Kromenoke, Florida State's alternating QB,
Yeah,
the younger one.
He had some runs that were kind of interesting.
He had some runs. He didn't go down. He doesn't have a lot of players out there helping him, but he showed the moxie. Like I said, I just don't think UNC is good enough to just go out there and beat them like everybody else. UNC is pretty bad. So I don't know. This is a sediment pick of all sediment picks. We'll see what happens.
All right, we'll see what happens. Only thing left to do, Freed, before I have to leave for my darts league that I'm playing with friend of the show, George Johnson III, go Army, is to say Miami versus Duke, 12 o'clock this weekend. Your final score prediction.
Yikes. Do you have yours ready?
Yeah.
You can go first.
Freed, my prediction is Miami's going to win pretty comfortably, and Manny Diaz will have a scrappy little start to the game, and then we will pull away for a 42-21 victory.
Okay. Yeah, I was writing mine down as you were starting your little monologue there, and I pretty much agree. I'm pretty locked in with you. I got it at 45-21.
45-21. All right.
So what's the Booch ball spread? Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop. A little premature from the ETF 5 bot making his way downtown. But I'm pretty sure we're at, 22 and a half?
Sounds fair to me.
Sounds about right. Very similar to last week here. Yeah, I mean, we didn't even talk about Duke at all because clearly we're not worried. We're going to go out there and take care of business.
Yeah, and there's only so much time in a day, Freed. You got any thoughts on this Mystic Mango here?
I like it. I like it a lot.
Very good. Me as well. I'm going to give this an 8.4 from me, Freed. Mm-hmm. It's squarely in the delicious range. Yeah, it's a top tier Booch.
Yeah, I'm going even a little bit higher. I'm going dramatic pause. 8.8.
Wow.
Big time Booch score. It's on the threshold of amazing. It's clearly delicious. There's a reason that it's been a mainstay in our top 5 list for quite some time. GT's Mystic Mango, if you are into the mango taste, I mean, this is for you. It's one of my typical icebreakers that I give to folks getting into kombucha. I think if it's your first or second Booch, you might pick up on a little bit of vinegariness just because you're not used to it. But once you kind of get used to the Booch game, this is so pure. It's just a great kombucha.
Freed, our current score for the GT's Mystic Mango is an 8.
It's about to go up.
So I think how this should work is that anytime we have additional reviews, we should aggregate our average score in with what the average score was. So ETF 5bot would say that the average between 8.8 and 8.4 is
beep boop beep 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 boop boop 8.6.
So an 8.6 with an 8 as the original score, which means
beep boop beep boop beep boop boop 8.3.
8.3, which then means it moves it up into second place, outpacing the Health Aid Pomegranate. Okay. Though I don't know if we specifically gave our pomegranate final score. I don't know if that we factored that one in yet.
Yeah,
but I think I gave it about an 8 last time as well.
It had an average score of 7.95. You gave it an 8. I gave it a 7.9.
There you go. So, Free, do you know what that means? GT's Mystic Mango, now our second favorite Booch of all time.
I think this is about right. And it's, the leaderboard should reflect reality.
Yeah.
And if you were to say Ginger Lemon 1, Mystic Mango 2, Pomegranate 3, I'm good with that.
Yeah, we're starting to get away from the any given Booch ball, and we're now going at a more like career aggregate percentage. This is how we determine who ends up in the Booch Ball Hall of Fame down the road, Feed. We have to have enough of these scores.
We need to ask Grok to make a list.
We need data. No, I'm out on Grok again.
We've got a big board, dude. They don't call it the Boocha big board for nothing. We've got like 50 kombuchas on here, and it hasn't been updated in like 3 years.
Yeah, we really need to spend some time. Let's spend some time. I will spend some time this Saturday.
We need an intern
going through here. Yeah.
No, you won't. You will not spend time going through
Maybe.
Here on Saturday. We need an
I don't know, Freed. I'm kind of like in like a new vibe of like productivity and
get after it
exercise.
Then, hell yeah.
So yeah, maybe just remind me. But folks, thank you for listening here to the Booch Ball podcast, courtesy of Freed and I. Go Canes. We beat FSU on to Duke and the Manny Diaz Bowl this weekend. Thank you. We love you.
Oh, hey,
Freed,
and
you have the music ready to go?
Oh, yeah, you can give me a second while I prepare my outro. If you're listening to this, and you probably aren't, but if you are, subscribe to our podcast and like our podcast or video, or I don't really know how these things work, but
tell us you like it.
Yeah, just
send me a text saying that you like the show.
Tell me you like me. Tell me I'm pretty.
Yeah, and as always,
stay cultured. Peace.
Booch. We playing Booch ball.